Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. I am the City Witch and you guessed it, I've got an unboxing video for you guys. So we're going to be doing a full unboxing and flip through of the Mythos Tarot deck today. Guidance from the Greek Gods by Helena Elias, and this deck is a rock pool deck. And personally, I've been loving rock pool decks. They've been knocking them out the park. The cardstock quality's been great. The colours have been fantastic. And the imagery has been to die for. So there have been some stunning decks from 2023 that have been from rock pool. So I am probably setting my sights very high for this deck and thinking it's going to be way up there with some of the others that I received last year. So this particular deck came to me through the Witch's Moon subscription box. So I received my first box of 2024 for January, and when I unboxed it, it was themed around the Olympian Greek gods, and this was the star of the show. The minute I opened this, I was excited. I kind of devolved into a child because this deck I've had my eye on for a while, and I've wanted to purchase it for my collection and work with it as a magical tool. So you heard me right there, guys. I'm going to use this as a magical tool. I'm not planning to use this personally as a tarot deck. Now, my main goddess in my life is Hecate, and I've been working with her for 25 years. And she is not a Greek goddess, although she was absorbed into Greek mythology and is considered now to be a Greek goddess. Originally, she was much older. We can trace her back all the way to Mesopotamia, so she's quite an old deity. However, because she was absorbed into Greek mythology, a lot of other Greek gods work well alongside her. So I've successfully worked with her, with Hermes, with Zeus, Jupiterian energies. So she's quite a flexible, versatile deity to work with. And I thought this would be a really good tool to work with some of the energies and the kind of magical areas that these deities rule over in my personal practice as a witch, and do it alongside Hecate with her guidance. So that is how I'm going to use this tool. And who knows, maybe I can connect to some new spirits and deities through using this deck and forge some new alliances. So that's kind of the hope, and that's how I plan to use this deck. So that being said, let's take a look. So first impressions is quite good. I really like the box. It's beautiful. Look at that gilding. Absolutely stunning with this beautiful gold. As I say, it's a rock pool deck, and we have some beautiful imagery on the box. And then on the back, it says, discover the divine wisdom of the Greek gods and goddesses. So that's important to me because many decks, or at least this is what I personally find, they focus too much on the feminine divine. And we have a lot of decks out there, both in tarot and oracle, which are just goddess themed. And I've really struggled to find a beautiful god deck that I can work with and connect to the masculine divine, because I prefer balance in my particular practice. I don't like to focus too much on the feminine divine. I don't like to deny the existence of the masculine divine, and I don't like to disclude men from my practice. So I personally like a nice blend, a nice mix, balance, and I want a deck that I can really sink my teeth into that has some beautifully displayed gods. And I'm hoping this is going to be the deck, because it does say gods and goddesses. And I'd like to see if this deck is quite equal, that we have a nice balance between the two, but we'll see when we open it. So it says, this tarot deck interprets the guidance of the Greek pantheon for a modern audience. The force of the Greek deity has been matched to the energy of each card to guide you to a deeper understanding of the card's divine messages and meanings. Draw on the depth of each card to map out meaning using timeless tools. So that sounds very exciting. I like the idea that they've matched each deity to a particular card in the tarot that kind of resonates energetically. So it'd be interesting to see which gods they've chosen for which particular cards. So here's some of the artwork, looking beautiful. I have to say, I'm really excited if that's what the cards are going to look like. So we have a plain inner box, and then we get this beautiful ribbon, which will help us pull up our guidebook. So the guidebook's looking nice, and it is colour. I love it when they go the extra mile and make it colour. So we have an introduction, how to use the cards, major arcana, minor arcana, wands, coins, cups, swords, acknowledgements, and a little bit about the author and the illustrator. So let's just take a look. So that looks like our back of the card, which is quite pretty. Let's see if we have any spreads. Ah, we do. So we've got the Trinity spread, direct spread. Ooh, the Olympian spread. That looks good. Let's take a little look at that. 12 cards. It kind of looks like it might equate to the year, you know, like the full year spreads you can do. So in this 12 card spread, each card relates to an Olympian. If you pull an Olympian within this set, it holds extra weight in the meaning. A second way to use this spread is to future scry for the next 12 months, which is what I said it looked like, from the time of the reading, with each card drawn resonating with a month. So in order from 1 to 12, the deities that they have is Zeus as card 1, number 2 is Hera, 3 is Poseidon, 4 is Demeter, 5 is Apollo, 6 Artemis, 7 Hermes, 8 Athena, 9 Hephaestus, number 10 is Aphrodite, 11 is Ares, and 12 is Dionysus. So here we have our cards. So card number 1 is going to be Pan, looking very green. So it tells us a little bit about Pan. So he is the god of the wild, shepherds and mischief. Pan was a mischievous god whose laughter was consistently changing, externally roaming to the sound of his choice musical notes. He chased nymphs and created novelty. Interesting. I like the way we've got a risen and then a fallen. So if you've fallen, obviously it's kind of a negative. So with the risen, they've put beginning, innocence, free spirit, spontaneity, travel and foolishness. And then for the fallen, holding back, recklessness, gullibility, distraction and apathy. I would also say naivety as well, because the Fool tends to come with that little bit of naivety because you're at the beginning of a journey or the beginning of an experience, and you can easily be misled because you're quite naive about something or don't have enough information. So I would say naivety as well can be a negative. It can also be a positive, but most of the time it's a negative. But interesting. So the rest of it is the cards, and obviously I wish to be surprised. So let's pop the guidebook to one side. We have our typical rock pool advertising for those interested. They have an app. And then we get the cards out. Let's just take this off. So these are beautifully gold gilded on the side. Wow, stunning colour. And then we have our back of the card, which really appeals to me because you cannot tell whether it is risen or fallen, as the guidebook says. So that's nice. It's kind of on the thin side, but it does snap back. It's got a lot of flexibility to it. I'm kind of not mad at it when it comes to the card stock. However, I wish it was just a little bit more stiffer than that. I feel like if you gave it enough, it would fully bend over and damage the card. So just be mindful of that, guys. It's also gloss, as you can see on the camera. They also are quite slippy. Look at that, guys. I can easily move the cards around. They're not stuck together, which is good. I don't like how slippy they are. That's a negative, I think, for me. Let's take a look at the cards. So first card, as I said, is Pan, looking beautiful in those greens. Loving the border. That's quite beautiful. And the border is also in gold. Lovely. The Magician, Hecate. So here's my goddess. That's a beautiful image of her. I love that all of her symbols are there. So we've got the moon, the torches, the keys, the dagger. Nice. I kind of would have liked, oh no, I was just about to say I would have liked a snake, but there is a snake wrapping around the arm there. So that is really nice imagery. High Priestess, Persephone. It's beautiful as well. And I'm noticing the borders changing depending on the deity. The Empress, Hera, that makes sense. Queen of the Gods. Ooh, I like the way she's gripping the heart in her hand as well. Gives me chills looking at that one. And of course the Emperor had to be Zeus because he is the king of the Olympian gods. Interesting how they chose to make his skin tone quite dark with that golden sheen. And I like the way his crown isn't on his head as well, it's above him. I don't know if that's kind of tying into his promiscuous nature, and obviously how disloyal he is to the other gods and how selfish he can be. Maybe it's showing that he's a bit removed from what a king should be. So that's quite interesting symbolism, I think. Hierophant, we've got Dionys. I'm not very good with pronouncing Greek deity names. I'm going to have to practice some of them, so please forgive me, guys, if I pronounce anything wrong. And I will try with some of them, but some of them I may just go, no, I'm not going to pronounce that. So here we have the Lovers, Aphrodite. Of course, it had to be Aphrodite, because why not? She is, after all, the goddess of love. I actually think that is a stunningly beautiful image of her. I really like that. The Chariot for Apollo. That's quite nice as well. Sticking to a little bit of the typical tarot symbolism as well, with the black and then the white horse. Nice. Strength, Atlas, that makes sense because he is, after all, holding up the world. The Hermit is Hermes. That's interesting. I might have gone with Kronos because obviously he's the father of time. He tends to be far removed, and he tends to be quite solitary. Hermes is kind of the messenger of the gods, so he has to visit a lot of gods and spread news and information. So I don't know if I quite see him as the hermit. I'd have to kind of see why they chose him for the hermit in the guidebook. Wheel of Fortune, Demeter. That's a good choice as well. Justice, Themis. That's good as well. So some of them are quite well chosen. The Hanged Man, Prometheus. That kind of makes sense. He was chained down, after all, for, I think he gave us fire, didn't he, if I remember his mythology? Fire to mankind, and Zeus was angry with him, so they chained him up. Could be getting it wrong, though. I'm not apt in the mythology. I'll have to go and read about it. Let's just turn it that way a sec. Yeah, they've chosen to make him quite an older man with wrinkles and a beard. Interesting. Death, they've gone with Thanatos, who I believe is the Greek god of death itself. So that kind of makes sense. I like the skull mask as well. I like how it's not completely dark as well, and there is some colour and some beauty in there with the flowers. It looks like he would have been quite young, but then they've given him grey hair. So they seem to be depicting a lot of the male gods as older. Apollo, I think, has been the only one that's been younger, along with Pan. Temperance, we've got Artemis. That's very interesting, and I'm not sure I agree with that. Again, I'd have to look at why they chose her for that. I personally wouldn't have gone with Artemis for Temperance. The Devil, Hades. I think that's kind of unfair. Hades gets such a bad rep, and he's not a bad god. I have worked with him before, and he's actually quite a sweetheart. So I don't know how I feel about that. I do like that he's holding puppies, though. His Cerberus is like a cute little puppy. I like the way they've covered his face as well, and he does appear to be younger. And I'm liking this slightly dragon theme as well, with these kind of bat wings on his armour. So it kind of makes me feel like he's ready for battle. And I don't get a negative vibe from this card at all, but I don't think it's fair that they depict him as the devil. I think there's other choices they could have gone with. The Tower for Poseidon, that's interesting. I feel like they're focusing on his stormy nature, that obviously, you know, when you go out to sea, it can be calm 1 minute and it can change instantly the next, and you can be in danger. So maybe that's what they're going with, his stormy kind of attitude, that he can shift at a moment's notice. The Star, Nyx, that's a perfect choice. I love Nyx for that. I love that she's got all this starlight in her hair and her dress. That is a beautiful, beautiful card. And we have the Moon, Selene, of course. She is the goddess of the moon. Sun, Helios, perfect. Some really gorgeous choices. Judgment, Athena. That's interesting as well, because she's commonly known as the goddess of war and wisdom. So why choose Judgment as her? Interesting. I don't know if it's because of the wise aspect, maybe. Maybe she's fairer for that reason. She likes to have all the facts before she makes a decision. The world, Gaia, that makes perfect sense. Gaia wasn't actually God though, she was a Titan, but I do like the depiction. Beautiful. Ace of Wands, Hephaestus, and they've made him younger looking compared to some of the other Greek gods. Most of them had grey hair. He's got this beautiful dark mane. He's supposed to be depicted as quite an ugly god, but I personally don't find him ugly there. Two of Wands. Oh, I'm going to try and pronounce this. Asclepius. I don't think I'm saying that right, but I tried. I gave it a go. Nobody come after me. Three of Wands, Ananke. That's nice as well. I like the subtle hint at death there with the skull in her crown. I don't know much about her, but I kind of feel drawn to her. Four of Wands, Hestia, goddess of the hearth. She's supposed to be one of the kind gods that you can work with. And I have worked with her before in the past as well. Five of Wands, Zealous. Don't know much about him. He's one of the fewer gods they've chosen to depict as quite young, which is interesting. Six of Wands, Nike. So she's good for focus and determination. Good for if you're quite sporty as well. Seven of Wands, Soteria. It's pretty cute with the bunny rabbit as well. Ooh, I like this one. That's a pretty card. Eight of Wands, Atalantia. That is lovely. I don't know anything about her whatsoever, but that is quite lovely. Beautiful imagery. Nine of Wands, Baia. Now she gives me Athena vibes with the armor. So other people have kind of commented saying that some of the women kind of look like they're constantly pouting and posing. And I'm kind of getting that vibe a little bit as I'm going through this deck. I mean, there's definitely a pout and a pose there. Pursing her lips, looking at a camera, or being told, you know, by somebody who's doing the photography, look this way, do a certain thing. You definitely get that vibe, I think. So this one is the Ten of Wands, Iris. It's quite a lovely card. Like, I haven't got a problem with the pouting and that, but a lot of people picked up on it and said they didn't like it. I personally think most of the gods are supposed to be quite beautiful. I mean, Hephaestus traditionally was described as quite an ugly god, but the rest of them are supposed to be beautiful, desirable, handsome, you know, that kind of thing. So them pouting, looking beautiful, you know, kind of showing off their beauty, I think that would kind of be typical of most deities, especially in the Greek pantheon. So this is the Page of Wands, Hemera. Knight of Wands, Hercules. It's nice. Nice depiction. I would have gone with a drawing that is very similar to the TV show Hercules, to be honest, because, you know, he was a hunk back in the day. The show was fantastic, but I don't mind this. He looks like he's more in his youth there. And I love that the lion's in the background as well. That was one of his challenges. Queen of Wands, Psyche. That's interesting as well. I really, really like that imagery. Also interesting that she's biting the petal of the flower. I wonder what that's about. Some of these I'm definitely going to have to look up and, you know, kind of read their mythology a little bit, especially if I want to connect to them more. So, King of Wands, Kronos. Okay, so this is the one that I said should have been the Hermit, because he's kind of far removed. He's always seen on his own. He's kind of like the father of time. So he's kind of always out in the sticks somewhere, basically. So I'd have made him the Hermit personally. And he's also considered to be one of the wisest and most intelligent of all the Greek gods. So he would have fitted the Hermit profile perfectly. So we're in the coins now. So Ace of Coins, Elias or Elois. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably not. Two of Coins, Oceanus. Again, we're going back to our older man kind of images here. Three of Coins, the Morai. That's quite cool. Loving the third eye that they've each got. I also like the depiction of we've got maiden, mother, crone kind of aspect for the triple goddess coming in. That's quite nice. 4 of coins, Epiphyron. Don't think I'm saying that right. I'm giving it a go though, that's what matters. 5 of coins, Penia. It's quite a sad card that actually. Get really sad vibes. 6 of coins, Fear. She also gives me sad vibes. 7 of coins, Calliope. I think Calliope was Morpheus's wife. I think she's one of the muses. 8 of coins, Charon. 9 of coins, Plutos. He's a bit handsome, isn't he? He's got a really pretty face. 10 of coins, Tichi, ruler of the cornucopia. Through fruitfulness, bounty, abundance. Ooh, this is interesting. Page of coins, Hormy. I'm not sure I like the colour on that one with the reds. That's very striking and unusual. Different to all the others. It stands out way more. Knight of coins, Zephyros. Queen of coins, Rhea. King of coins, Hipperon or Hyperon. Ace of cups, Pontos. Ooh, he looks quite dark, doesn't he? Maybe he should have been the devil. It's quite interesting though, because he doesn't have eyes. He has like darkness for eye sockets. 2 of cups. Ooh. Hermaphroditus. That is interesting indeed. That actually gains this deck major brownie points. I actually was wondering if they were going to put this particular deity in this deck, and they have. So that is interesting. I love how you can see the blend of the male and female. I also love the colour change that's going on. That is beautifully done. I love the vibe of that card as well. It gives me really, really good vibes. And I love that it's the 2 of cups as well. Unity, you know, acceptance, the blending of 2 forces. That is a perfect depiction and choice for that particular deity. 3 of cups, the graces. That's also a really good choice. Friendship, happiness, celebration, having fun. That is a really good choice. I like that. The 4 of cups, Styx. I wonder if that's just supposed to be about connecting to the river Styx, or if it's actually got a deity that rules over the river Styx. I'm not actually sure. I'll have to check the mythology. 5 of cups, Lethe. So that was another one of the rivers, if I remember rightly, that runs through Hades. And then 6 of cups. Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this one, but I'll give it a whirl. Nemosi. I think there's 3 main rivers through Hades, so I'm not sure if that's another one or if I've missed one. I'll have to look it up. Oops, cards stuck together slightly here. There we go. So 7 of cups, Hesperus. That's beautiful. I love the use of the pinks and the purples and that. Also, this particular one looks like he's crying, and he also has the symbol of the moon on his head. I wonder if he's connected to Selene, and I wonder why he's crying. 8 of cups, Charon. So he is the guide to the river Styx, taking you into Hades. 9 of cups, Amphitrite. Amphitrite. I'm not pronouncing that correctly at all, am I? 10 of cups, Nides. I don't know. Page of cups, Hebe. That one I can say. That's beautiful. Look at that. I love the detailing on that one with the spring and the flowers and the butterflies. That's absolutely beautiful. And to be honest, that would have been a really nice depiction for Persephone as well. But I do like what they did with Persephone, reminding us that she is the queen of the underworld, that she's no longer just a baby kind of princess anymore. She became a queen, a powerful queen, ruling over one of the biggest parts of Olympus next to an extremely powerful ruler. Because Hades, you know, is one of the main three brothers, you know, Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, they were always the main three. So Hades is extremely powerful. It's quite beautiful, that one though. I do like that one. Knight of Cups, Morpheus, god of dreams. It's a nice depiction as well. Queen of Cups, Phoebe. King of Cups, Chorus or Chorus. Don't know anything about that particular deity. Ace of Swords, Chaos. So we're entering the swords now. Two of Swords, Nemesis. Ooh, that's a nice one. I like the way that's drawn. I love the subtlety of the swords as well. That we've got one physically and then one tattooed on her. Three of Swords, Eros. That's really good. And I like the way they've kept the traditional tarot symbolism of the heart pierced by three swords as well. Four of Swords, Hypnos. He kind of, like, to me, almost looks like how I'd imagine Zeus would. You know, with kind of like electric streaks in his hair. Yeah, I sort of feel like that should have been Zeus, the image they've used. Five of Swords, Eris. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, by the way, guys. Six of Swords, Eos, I think that's pronounced. It's beautiful. It's really, really pretty, that image. Seven of Swords, the Iris. Three old ladies. So they have snakes depicted on here, skulls, swords and daggers, and they all have red eyes. Looks almost like they have bat wings as well. That's interesting. Eight of Swords, Medusa. It's a beautiful image, but I actually would have preferred them to have done the Gorgons because everybody focuses on Medusa, but she actually had sisters. There was 3 Gorgons in total, so why not depict all 3 and have a card called the Gorgons, or one for each of the Gorgons and their various energies. So I would have preferred the Gorgons rather than just focus on Medusa, but it's still a lovely card. Nine of Swords, Phobos. That's nice. Really like that. He looks broken, a little bit twisted, but he's, you know, kind of picking up the pieces, putting himself back together. Ten of Swords. Ooh, I don't think I'm going to pronounce this right. Melpomene. Melpomene? I gave it a whirl. Nobody come for me. Page of Swords. Erebus. Ooh, that's nice as well. If anybody has read the ACOTAR books, you know, A Court of Thorn and Roses, this reminds me of Rysand with his smoky energy and the starlight, the purples. That is giving me Rysand vibes. So any fans out there of the books, let me know. Then we have Knight of Swords, Aries. Do you know, I actually saw something about Aries that I didn't know in his mythology. Apparently, one of the other Greek goddesses was raped by another god, and he hunted them down and he punished them, he killed them, and he was put on trial by Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, and you know, for killing another god. And the female goddesses all stood against them and said no and ruled in his favor because he was defending a woman who was brutally raped. So he was after that forever known as the patron god of protecting women. And I thought that was really interesting because I didn't know that about his mythology. So that kind of put him in a new light for me a little bit. Queen of Swords, Circe. Circe curse me. And then our last one, King of Swords, Uranus. And that's quite a lovely card as well. I have to say, I can see why people were kind of annoyed with the, you know, kind of women and the way they're posed and depicted. You know, they're always kind of looking off to the side or kind of looking longingly, and, you know, they do always look like they are posing. Not every single one, but quite a few of them. I mean, that one in particular is definitely a pose. And then look at that one, you know, kind of slightly chewing on a flower. There's definitely posing going on, whereas the men seem to be more sitting in their masculine power. So I kind of prefer some of the male cards compared to the, you know, female cards. But I have to say, all the cards are beautifully done. There's not a single one that I hated. And I think some of the choices for the cards are interesting. Definitely some of them I would have gone with a different Greek deity. But overall, I do think quite a lovely deck. I probably couldn't score it a 10 out of 10 because it's not traditionally tarot. I do think a beginner would struggle with this deck, and I think that it does require somebody a little bit more skilled, or, you know, if you're willing to put a lot of time and energy into practicing and learning this deck, then so be it. But it's definitely not something you could just pick up and work with if you were a novice or a beginner in tarot. You're definitely going to need something with more imagery, something to connect to, give you traditional tarot symbolism. So this would be quite a difficult deck to work with as tarot. However, I don't have to worry because I'm going to use it as a magical tool, which could be an idea for some of you out there if you also want to connect to the Greek gods. And I'm looking forward to reading the guidebooks. I think I'll learn a lot about some of these deities as well. So yeah, so far I think from me, I would score this deck somewhere in the vicinity of about a 7 out of 10, maybe a 7.5 out of 10, because there was some deities in here I was quite surprised they portrayed, but really happy they did. The guidebook is full colour, the box is good quality, the cards are nice, beautifully done, you know, very well made and everything, stunning imagery and colours. However, you know, it is kind of on the thin side. It is gloss. It's going to be difficult to shuffle because they're going to slip and slide around. So there's a few things they could have done better. I personally would have preferred them to have been matte, slightly thicker, and, you know, kind of sticking together just a little bit more so they are not going to slip and slide out of my hands all over the place when I'm shuffling them. So therefore, I'm going to score this a 7.5 out of 10, I think is my final score. And that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up, click the bell. YouTube will tell you when my next video comes out. If you'd like to support me and my humble, small, growing channel, you can do that through either my PayPal link or my Amazon wishlist, and I do appreciate all of your support. If you'd like to contact me for a reading or any of my magical services, you can do that on Facebook, Instagram, X, or via email, and all the links are provided, guys. Thank you so much for your support and watching till the end. I do appreciate it. For now, I am going to bid you good day, and I will speak to you all again soon. Blessed be.